Betrayal was common, with spies double-crossing their nations for money, ideology, or sometimes for reasons even they themselves couldn't fully explain. Loyalties shifted like shadows, and trust was a rare and fragile thing. In this world, every decision carried weight, and every glance could be a signal or a warning. The line between friend and foe was often blurred, leaving agents to question even their closest allies. This wasn't a world of clear-cut heroes and villains, but a murky landscape of shifting loyalties, where the stakes were nothing less than the fate of nations. Imagine a war fought not with tanks and planes, but with whispers, forged documents and coded messages tapped out in the dead of night. Every word, every gesture, could tip the balance. This was the secret front of World War II, an invisible battlefield where history was altered by men and women whose names would never be known, their actions hidden in the shadows. Their victories were silent, their defeats often fatal, and their stories pushed the boundaries of courage and deception. They lived in constant suspense, never knowing who might betray them next. A casual conversation in a Parisian cafe could be a clandestine exchange of vital intelligence, a simple smile masking a world of secrets. A misplaced newspaper might contain a hidden message that could save thousands or doom them. Even the most ordinary objects could become tools of espionage. Trust was a commodity more precious than gold, and just as easily lost. Suspicion was a constant companion, and paranoia was often justified. Spies operated under constant threat, where a single slip could mean capture or death. Every step was a risk, every meeting a potential trap. Their battlefield was the human mind, and their weapon was information, stealing it, protecting it, and manipulating it to outwit the enemy. They faked documents, destroyed evidence, and wove elaborate webs of deception to mislead the enemy at every turn. This invisible war of wits was as crucial as any battle fought on the beaches or plains, shaping the outcome of the conflict in ways that would remain hidden for decades. Behind every spy was an organization pulling the strings, a nerve center that recruited, trained, and directed clandestine operations. These organizations were the unseen hands that shaped the course of the war, operating in the shadows to gather crucial intelligence and execute covert missions. For the British, that was MI6, a service forced to evolve rapidly during the war, filling its ranks with academics, linguists, and unconventional thinkers. These individuals brought unique skills and perspectives, making MI6 a formidable force in the intelligence community. MI6 gathered foreign intelligence, ran agent networks deep in enemy territory, and sabotaged the Axis from within. Their operations were critical in undermining enemy plans and supporting Allied efforts on multiple fronts. Across the Atlantic, the US had no central intelligence agency before the war. The lack of a coordinated intelligence effort left the nation vulnerable and unprepared for the global conflict that was unfolding. Pearl Harbor changed that, leading to the creation of the OSS in 1942. This new agency was tasked with centralizing intelligence efforts and coordinating espionage activities to support the war effort. The OSS, led by Wild Bill Donovan, recruited Ivy League scholars, Hollywood directors, adventurers, and even mobsters. This eclectic mix of talent brought creativity and resourcefulness to the agency's operations. Its mission: collect and analyze strategic information and conduct unconventional warfare. The OSS became a hub of innovation, developing new techniques and strategies to outsmart the enemy. By war's end, the OSS had nearly 13,000 operatives worldwide, pioneering new techniques in psychological warfare and propaganda. Their efforts were instrumental in shaping the outcome of the war. The OSS laid the foundation for the CIA, shaping American intelligence for decades. The transition from OSS to CIA marked the beginning of a new era in intelligence operations. These organizations were the puppet masters of the secret war, but their work was far from glamorous. It involved long hours, meticulous planning, and a constant battle against time and secrecy. It meant painstaking analysis, endless code breaking, and the agonizing responsibility of sending agents into mortal danger. The stakes were incredibly high, and the pressure was immense. They developed invisible ink, miniature cameras, and single-shot pistols disguised as everyday objects. These innovations were crucial for the success of their covert operations. They were the architects of grand deceptions, inventing phantom armies to fool the enemy. These elaborate ruses played a significant role in the Allied victory, demonstrating the power of strategic deception. Among the thousands of agents who risked everything during World War II, Virginia Hall's story stands out for sheer audacity, resilience, and unwavering courage. She was a woman who defied every expectation and limitation placed before her. An American with a wooden prosthetic leg, Hall was an unlikely spy. Her disability became her greatest disguise. Nicknamed the Limping Lady, she turned what many saw as a weakness into her most powerful asset, moving through occupied France with a quiet determination that fooled even the sharpest eyes. Working for Britain's SOE and later the OSS, she arrived in Lyon in 1941, posing as a journalist. Her cover allowed her to gather intelligence, make contacts, and blend into the bustling city life while secretly planning acts of resistance. She built a vast network in the French resistance, organized safe houses, coordinated parachute drops, and helped downed airmen escape. Her leadership and resourcefulness inspired countless others to join the fight against Nazi occupation. Hall became so effective that the Gestapo called her the most dangerous Allied spy in France. They circulated her description everywhere, desperate to catch the mysterious woman who always seemed one step ahead. As the net closed, she made a daring escape, crossing the snow-covered Pyrenees into Spain on foot, a superhuman feat for anyone, let alone someone with a prosthetic leg. The journey was perilous, but Hall's determination never wavered, even in the face of exhaustion and danger. Undeterred, Hall returned to France in 1944, disguised as an elderly milkmaid. She changed her appearance, voice, and mannerisms, slipping past German patrols and suspicion with remarkable skill. She trained resistance fighters, taught sabotage, and orchestrated chaos behind German lines before and after D-Day. Her expertise and bravery helped turn ordinary citizens into effective fighters, tipping the balance in key moments. Her contributions directly aided the Allied advance, paving the way for liberation and saving countless lives through her actions and leadership. Virginia Hall's story is a powerful reminder. Sometimes the most formidable weapons in espionage are not gadgets or guns, but courage, ingenuity, and an unbreakable will to fight for freedom. She was never caught, and her legend endures, inspiring generations of spies and ordinary people alike. Her legacy is proof that ordinary people, when driven by extraordinary purpose, can change the course of history. One of WWII's most impactful innovations was the double-cross system. The British perfected it through the 20 Committee, XX or double cross. Captured German spies were given a choice: work for Britain or face the consequences. Many cooperated. Under MI5's control, these double agents fed believable but misleading information back to Germany. The most famous success, Operation Fortitude, which convinced Hitler the D-Day landings would come at Calais, not Normandy. The deception was so complete, German forces waited for an attack that never came, giving the Allies time to secure the beachhead. The double-cross system didn't just win a battle, it arguably saved the entire invasion. Sometimes a well-told lie was more powerful than a division of tanks. While the Allies deceived the Germans, a deeper betrayal unfolded within Britain itself, the Cambridge Five. Recruited at Cambridge in the 1930s, these privileged young men, Philby, Maclean, Burgess, Blunt, and Cairncross, spied for the Soviet Union out of ideology, not greed. They infiltrated MI6, MI5, and the Foreign Office, gaining access to the most sensitive secrets. Their betrayal was systematic and devastating, passing thousands of documents to Moscow and shaping the post-war world. The Cambridge Five's story is a chilling lesson. Ideology can be a more powerful motivator than patriotism, and the greatest threat can come from within. Their exposure sent shockwaves through Western intelligence, forcing a painful reckoning with trust and loyalty. Of the Cambridge Five, Kim Philby was the most brilliant and destructive. To MI6, he was the perfect English gentleman, witty, intelligent, and utterly dependable. Ironically, he became head of MI6's anti-Soviet section, tasked with catching spies like himself. Philby's betrayal was deeply personal. He deceived close friends and colleagues, all while reporting their every move to Moscow. He had access to the most sensitive Allied secrets, which he passed to the Soviets. One of his coldest acts, sabotaging a joint British-American operation in Albania, sending agents to their deaths. Even as suspicion grew, Philby evaded justice for years, protected by friends who couldn't believe he was a traitor. In 1963, with evidence mounting, he defected to Moscow, living out his days as a KGB hero. Philby's story is the ultimate cautionary tale, charm as a weapon, friendship as a cover, and a betrayal that shook Western intelligence to its core. His legacy is a reminder that the most dangerous enemy can be the one you trust most. The damage he caused lasted for generations. WWII espionage was a hotbed of technological innovation. Spies relied on gadgets, miniature radios hidden in suitcases, invisible ink, microdots, and ciphers. For sabotage, there were silenced pistols, limpet mines, and even exploding rats, ingenious if macabre inventions. Everyday items became lifesavers: compasses and buttons, wire saws and shoelaces, silk maps that could be hidden anywhere. The OSS even developed Who Me, a foul-smelling liquid to humiliate German officers. These gadgets weren't just clever, they were essential tools of survival and resistance. Ingenuity was pitted against brute force, and sometimes the smallest device made the biggest difference. For all the gadgets and grand strategies, espionage was ultimately a human story. Spies accepted profound loneliness and the constant fear of discovery. Their courage was not the heat of battle kind, but a cold, sustained bravery, lying convincingly, surviving interrogations, making life-or-death decisions alone, trusting strangers while suspecting everyone created an isolating existence. Families suffered too, left in the dark, living with constant worry and uncertainty. Spies carried the weight of their secrets alone, often long after the war ended. Their victories were secret, their sacrifices known only to a few. They fought a war of wits and wills where the stakes were just as high. Their stories remind us that courage comes in many forms. Some of the most important battles in history were won not with explosions, but with whispers. The Secret War didn't end in 1945. Its legacy shaped the modern world. Organizations like the OSS and MI6 became blueprints for today's intelligence agencies. Deception, surveillance, and covert action became standard in the Cold War. Betrayals like the Cambridge Five fostered paranoia and mistrust for decades. Technological innovations, miniature radios, secure communications, code breaking paved the way for the digital age. The sacrifices and deceptions of WWII remind us that history is shaped as much by secrets as by battles. The shadows of World War II still hold lessons about trust, betrayal, and the enduring power of a well-kept secret.